All right, let's talk about motivation. You know that feeling, right? That initial burst of energy where you think, this is it. This time I'm actually going to go to the gym every day or learn that language or finally finish that big project. But then, poof, it's gone. We've all been there, and we all start asking, what's wrong with me? Well, what if I told you nothing is wrong with you? What if the whole way we think about motivation is the actual problem? Today, we're going to tear that idea down and build something that actually works. Let's get into it.
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, I remember deciding I was going to learn guitar. For about a week, I was a rock star in my own mind. Then, life happens. The guitar just sat there collecting dust. See, we treat motivation like this magical thing we have to find and bottle up. But it's not magic, it's just unreliable. The problem isn't that you're lazy, the problem is your strategy. And this quote from James Clear just nails it. It's so true. We sit around waiting to feel like doing something. But the people who actually get things done, they don't wait for a feeling. They have a plan. They have clarity. They know exactly when, where, and how they're going to do the thing. So let's make that our first big shift. Stop waiting for motivation and start building a super clear path. Okay, so if motivation is a lie, what's the truth? Well, the answer is way smaller, a lot quieter, but believe me, it is infinitely more powerful. We're talking about getting this 1% better every single day. This is all about ditching that all-or-nothing mindset and just embracing the insane power of tiny, tiny gains that build on each other.
I love this metaphor. It's so perfect. Think about it. If you put a little bit of money into a savings account, you don't really notice it at first, but over time, the interest compounds and it grows into something huge. Habits are exactly the same. Reading one page a day doesn't feel like much, but after a year, you've read a whole bunch of books. Good habits basically make time your best friend.
So let's look at the actual math here, because this is kind of mind-blowing. If you get just 1% better every day for a year, you don't end up 365% better. No. The magic of compounding means you end up 37 times better. That's a nearly 3,800% improvement. It's not a straight line, it's a rocket ship. That's the power we're talking about.
But, and this is really important, there's a dark side to this. What happens if you get 1% worse each day? You skip that one page, you eat that one extra cookie, you hit the snooze button. It seems harmless, right? Wrong. That same compounding effect works in reverse. You don't just get a little worse, you basically slide all the way down to zero. Your small daily choices are literally creating your future, for better or for worse. This right here might be one of the most important ideas to ever grab hold of. We all have goals, right? The person who succeeds and the person who fails, they often have the exact same goal. The difference isn't their ambition, the difference is their system, the daily things they do without even thinking about it. So let's stop staring at the mountaintop and start building a reliable path to get there. Okay, so we need a system. Fantastic. But what does that even look like? How do you actually build one? Well, luckily for us, James Clear already did the hard work. He's broken it down into a super simple, super practical framework. He calls it the 4 laws of behavior change, and honestly, they're about to become your new secret weapon.
And there they are. These 4 laws are pretty much the user manual for your brain. Want to run in the morning? Okay, let's use the laws. Put your running shoes where you can't miss them. That's obvious. Make an awesome playlist that gets you pumped up. That's attractive. Just start with a 5-minute run. That's easy. And put a big X on your calendar every day you do it. That's satisfying. It's that simple. But the real magic is how these laws play with our brain chemistry.
And that leads us straight to the science. Because if you really want to master your habits, you got to understand the chemical that runs the whole show, dopamine. But here's the thing. What if almost everything you think you know about dopamine is a little bit off? What if the key to never-ending motivation is hidden right there in our brain chemistry?
This is such a critical distinction. We always hear dopamine called the pleasure molecule, but that's not quite right. It's not the feeling you get after you win. It's the feeling that makes you want to play the game in the first place. It is the molecule of wanting, of drive, of craving. It's the engine that gets you off the couch.
So your dopamine works on 2 levels. First, you've got your baseline. Think of this as your default level of motivation, just your day-to-day mood and drive. Then you've got the peaks. These are the big spikes you get from eating something delicious, or winning a game, or getting a bunch of likes on social media. And here's the kicker. Those big peaks have a huge and kinda scary impact on your baseline.
This right here is the fundamental rule. Your brain loves balance. It's like a seesaw. For every big, exciting peak of pleasure, there has to be an equal and opposite dip into pain, or at least a dip below your normal baseline. That's why you feel so drained after an amazing party. It's why you feel a little flat after finishing a huge project. It's the neurochemical hangover. And you can see how this plays out over time. If you are constantly chasing those huge dopamine spikes from junk food, social media, whatever your vice is, your brain starts to adapt. The peaks get a little smaller, and the valleys get deeper and last longer. Over time, your whole baseline level of dopamine gets dragged down. You are literally burning out your own motivation system. It becomes harder and harder to feel motivated to do anything.
So this is the big problem, right? We need dopamine to be motivated, but chasing big hits of dopamine ends up destroying our motivation in the long run. So what's the answer? How do we work with our brain chemistry instead of against it? Well, it all comes down to a really simple but totally game-changing shift in what we decide to reward. Let's go back to James Clear's laws. Specifically, let's look at that fourth one, make it satisfying. This law, the one about giving yourself an immediate little reward after you do a good habit, this is the key. This unlocks the entire dopamine puzzle. But it's all about the kind of reward you choose.
So why is that little immediate hit of satisfaction so powerful? And how can we possibly do it without triggering that awful dopamine crash we just talked about? Well, the answer is this beautiful sweet spot where habit science and brain science meet, and it's going to change how you think about hard work forever.
And here's the secret. The goal is not to reward yourself with a donut after you work out. The real goal is to teach your brain that the workout itself is the reward. It's about learning to enjoy the feeling of your muscles working, the pride you feel for not quitting. That's how you get your brain to release dopamine for the hard part, for the effort.
This chart just makes it crystal clear. An extrinsic reward, like that cake, it actually tells your brain, ugh, the workout was the miserable price I had to pay to get this cake. It cheapens the activity. But an intrinsic reward, just a simple internal, yes, I did it during that last tough rep, that tells your brain, hey, this struggle, this is the good part. And that is how you protect your baseline dopamine and build motivation that actually lasts.
And you know what? This whole concept has a name you've probably heard before, growth mindset. It's from the amazing work of Carol Dweck. People with a growth mindset don't just put up with challenges to get to the finish line. They actually see the challenge, the struggle, the effort. They see that as the reward. They've neurologically trained themselves to love the climb, not just the view from the top.
So this is the whole game. You can consciously retrain your brain. The next time you're doing something hard and you feel that friction, that desire to quit, I want you to try something. I want you to say to yourself, this is hard, and that means it's working. This struggle is making me better. When you start telling yourself that story, you teach your brain to release dopamine during the hard work, not just when it's over.
So let's wrap this all up. Here's your new playbook. It's simple, but it's powerful. Number 1, stop chasing the feeling of motivation, build a clear system instead. 2, use those 4 laws to make your good habits as easy and automatic as possible. 3, protect your baseline dopamine like it's a precious resource. And 4, the most important one, learn to love the effort. That is the real secret.
And I want to leave you with this question, because this isn't just an idea to think about, it's something to do. The very next time you feel that moment of friction, when you're pushing through one more rep, writing one more sentence, or just not hitting snooze, that's your chance. That is the moment to tell yourself, this right here, this is the win. So what struggle, what little piece of effort are you going to celebrate today? Because when you learn to love that part, you'll find you have all the motivation you ever needed.